Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my new cover. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell. The bell. Thank you.
Wake up. You're at Fairview. If y'all will please stand and help us sing In the Garden. Thank you. You may be seated.
Waking up to a new sunrise, looking back from the other side. I can see now with open eyes, darkest water and deepest pain. Wouldn't trade it for anything. 'Cause my brokenness brought me to you, and these wounds are a story you'll use. So I'm thankful for the scars, 'cause without them I wouldn't know your heart, and I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful for the stars. Now I'm standing in calm. I wouldn't know your heart. And with my life I'll tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful. I'm thankful for the scars, 'cause without them I wouldn't know your heart. And I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful for the scars. Forever I am thankful for the scars.
As they're preparing for the next song, just a couple of announcements. The finance committee is meeting this Thursday. In the bulletin it says Wednesday, but it is this Thursday, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Also, if you have not signed up for our community day, we need your help. You can see Miss Kim right over here on this side. She will gladly fill you in a spot, but we need volunteers to be able to make this day a success so that we can reach out to our community. So if you would be kind enough to help us with that day, please see Miss Kim.
I pledge allegiance to the land with all my strength, with all I am. I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
I have heard how Christians long ago were brought before a tyrant's throne, and they were told that he would spare their lives if they would renounce the name of Christ. But one by one they chose to die. The Son of God they would not deny. Like a great angelic choir sings, I can almost hear their voices ring. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb with all my strength, with all I am. I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
Now the years have come and the years have gone, but the cause of Jesus still goes on. Now our time has come for us to count the cost, to reject this world, to embrace the cross, and one by one let us live our lives for the one who died to give us life, till the trumpet sounds on that final day. Let us proudly stand and boldly say, I pledge allegiance to the Lamb with all my strength, with all I am. I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the
who took my place, who bore my shame. I will seek to honor his commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
I pledge allegiance to the Lamb with all my strength, with all I am. I will seek to honor his commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb with all my strength, with all I am. I will seek to honor his commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. I pledge allegiance to the
We're so glad you're here this morning. Thank you for coming. We have a special treat this morning. One of our young people went to Hawaii on a mission trip, and Caden is going to be here this morning, and she's going to tell you about her adventures and the mission that she was involved in Hawaii.
Okay, so as you all know, I was blessed to be able to go to Hawaii, and oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Okay, so this was our training week, and we were at Welch College, and the first day we face painted, we made balloon animals, and then we team bonded and wrote our testimony. And so I'm gonna share my testimony with y'all. And so before Christ, I struggled with insecurity, and I was vain, judgmental. I had a really bad attitude, and it just got progressively worse through the years. And in 2020, when COVID was hitting and my grandpa was in the hospital, it just hit me, and they were like, he doesn't have long to live. And I didn't know what to do, and I was really scared. But before he died, they told me that he got saved, and I really wanted to see him again. So that night I asked God to give me a sign, and when I was going home, he gave me the song Praise You in the Storm, and I didn't know what to do. And that night I went to my room, I was by myself, and I completely devoted my life to him. And ever since, I still struggle with insecurity, and I still struggle with doubt, but I know, like Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And ever since then, I've been able to do more things with God. And that's my testimony. Okay, next slide. So we did a lot of team bonding exercises, and then in Hawaii, everybody calls everyone auntie and uncle. So we had an auntie and uncle originally from Hawaii come and talk to us about the culture, and I did not know there's like so many different cultures in Hawaii. That's like the most diverse state. And then every night at 9:45 in the quad, they would award the team with the most spirit. I think we had the most, but we never got it. Yeah, and so something I really enjoyed in Hawaii was our quiet time, because I never really took that seriously until then. And it was when we would find somewhere and put ourselves in solitude, basically, for about 30 to 45 minutes. And we would just read our Bible and take serious time with God. And then we had really good services. We had John Forrest come talk to us about the lifeline of life and how short it is and how we need Jesus through it all, basically. We had so many Walmart runs. Okay, and then one night for our team bonding, we had a shield, and we had a symbol, and ours was a volcano. And then we had a fun fact, and we were the first E-Team Hawaii. And then our purpose was to fulfill the Great Commission. So, I don't know if y'all can read that, but this is a quote from Matthew 28:19 through 20, but this is Hawaiian Pidgin. So, it says, "So you guys go all over the world and teach all the different peoples so they can learn about me and come, my guys. Baptize them, and they gonna come tight with my father. And me, his boy, and God's good and special spirit. Teach them how for do everything, and I tell you guys for do. And you know what? I'm gonna stick with you guys all the way till the world go pow." So that's our quote, and I was in Hawaiian Pidgin. Next slide. This is the worst part of Hawaii, the plane rides. I am terrified of planes, and I was crying the whole time before the plane ride. And when I got on the plane, everybody was staring at me because I was bawling my eyes out. So on the way there, it was not bad. I think I broke the person's hand beside me. And then on the way back, I don't know what they said, but it was like, I think it was a jet pilot. So he said, like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're now descending." And you know how they go like this? This pilot just goes straight down. Like the nose of the plane is like straight down. And we were doing that for a good 6 seconds. Everyone was looking at me because I was freaking out. Even our leaders were freaking out, so that was a really bad part. But we have really good views, and we had a really long layover in the airport. Okay, so something I was not also excited about was the food, because I'm a very picky eater. We had a lot of food. We were blessed to be able to get fed so much every single night. What we had for breakfast every day: Spam, eggs, and rice. It was about a 9. And so something else that the guys ate, none of the girls ate it, was Valette. It's a fertilized duck egg, and it was so gross. And then something else that we had, it was a process of cooking. It's called umu, and it's when you have volcanic rock and you have a pig in the middle, and you light the fire under the volcanic rock, and then you have banana leaves on top, and you just let that cook for about 3.5 hours, and then after that is done, and you eat the banana leaves and you eat the pig, obviously, and then it was okay. My favorite there was probably the chicken katsu, or the Korean chicken. Okay, so the next thing, our first work day, we painted a lot, and they put flooring in, we painted and just rebuilt the whole place. It took hours to paint a few doors. And we just got set up for VBS. And these are more pictures of VBS. It took forever to get that sign up, the monumental sign. And in the bottom right, that's what we all felt like at the end of it. This is a lot of our VBS friends. We made so many friendships and so many bonds that I will cherish forever. I still FaceTime some of them today, and it's just the inseparable bond we'll always have. So this is more pictures, and then in the middle, the bottom middle, at the end of our VBS, 3 girls got saved, and I was blessed to be able to lead them in the prayer and help them with all the questions they had. And then every night we had volleyball games, we had basketball. I was really bad at basketball. One of the little guys, he was about this tall, but he is like so strong. I was going to get the ball and I got air tackled. I still have scars. And then next we went to Pearl Harbor, it was really pretty. One of my friends on the team, her great great grandpa was in Pearl Harbor, so she got to be able to see his name written. And we saw the USS Arizona, and the bottom left, the second to left, is a picture of the Arizona, and there was like a hole where we got to see, and there's still pollution in the water to this day. And these are all of our, this is from our worship service that Sunday morning. They put me right in front of the microphone, which is not the best idea. But we just made so many new friends and met so many new people. And I have actually one person, Auntie Sifo. She's actually coming to my graduation now, and they make really cool lace. Like they have like this kind of lei. They made that, and then she's making me a money lei, so I'm really excited for that. And then it was also Father's Day in Hawaii. So all the fathers, a tradition they do, they would line all the fathers up, and then their kids would go give them leis. One father got a ramen noodle lei, and they just had leis for him all the way down. And then, so the girl in the middle, that was my best friend Macy. Me and her made a bond that I will never forget. She's one of the people I FaceTime every day. And then that's Auntie Rua in the top left, and it's just a lot more people. And if you see the bottom left, that's when we all got buried in the sand, when we went to the beach. And then Uncle, the bottom right, the top and bottom, those were our host family, and they were the best people. That's Uncle Carl and Auntie Cynthia, and they just met all of our needs. And their daughter, Leilani, is up in the top right. And they also had two sons, Noah and Kaola. And then something that we all get wrong is expectation versus reality. When I came back, they're like, I bet you had a fun time. I bet you got to see all the pretty beaches, everything. And I was like, no, it was just the opposite. So this was one day when we went to Waikiki Beach, and we just drove through it. It had Louis Vuitton, Ferrari, Rolex, all the cool stores. And then they had blue beaches, clear water, everything. And then on the right is not even 5 miles outside of Waikiki. It's on Wapahu. And there's tents outside along the beaches. And it's little kids. I seen little kids, and I saw 5 people in a tent. And it's just little kids running out. You see the little Batman tent. And it was just really sad. And that made me really grateful for where I live, because I'm spoiled, and I'm kind of what's the word? I don't know. What's the word? I don't know. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm very blessed and fortunate to be able to have a home, and not live in a tent. And Hawaii, some of these people have really good jobs, but they're still living in their cars because of the cost of Hawaii. I went to Walmart, and a gallon of milk was $9.50 a gallon. Like, it was so much. And then, so this next thing is all the pretty places we got to see, God's creation. We went to Hanama Bay, and we went snorkeling there, and we got to see all the fish. The state fish is the huma huma, nuka nuka, aba aa, if y'all wanted to know. And then we saw so many different fish, sea urchins, eels, and it was really cool. And then the top right is when we went to the beach on Sunday, and they consider Sundays like a family day, and just to chill out, hang out. And something that we get called Howlies, which is like a Maine white land person. So anytime you do something out of the ordinary in Hawaii, like run around in Walmart, you get called a Howlie. You know, they're very calm and chillaxed people. And then the next one, this is just more pictures from when we went, and this is more of my team, and we had a really inseparable bond that we'll always have and cherish. And then this is more of my E-team friends, and I made friends with so many different people from other teams such as Panama, St. Croix, France, Brazil, Spain. I made friends with people from a lot of teams. So the big part that we had when we were in Hawaii was the culture part. we learned a lot about culture because we have a tendency of pushing Jesus on others. We have that tendency of getting called the Jesus pushers. So we think it's a good thing, but some people don't want to accept it because we're pushing our religion on them, and they don't know us. So we wanted to get relationships with people, and we want to learn their culture before, so we can start giving them ours. So the first place we went was to a Buddhist temple, and we went, it just felt wrong to me. They had little bongs, like you hit a big bong, and it was like to wake the gods up. And then out of respect for everyone in Hawaii, you would take your shoes off. So we would take our shoes off, and we went through, it was a huge Buddha. It was probably from the floor up to the Promethean, or the projector, or whatever that is. And it was really big. It was a really nice, beautiful place, but it was like a really eerie feeling. And Mormonism is actually the top religion in Hawaii. It's Mormonism, Buddhism, Hinduism, paganism, and then Christianity. So it's a very diverse place. Next to the Buddhist temple, you'll see is the pagan worship site, and I think it's called the Hayu Temple. And what they would do there is people would give their first catches of the month, and they would offer it to the ocean god. And back in the day, what really made me feel, I don't know the word, but they would offer deformed children, and they would put their deformed children here just to let the gods take care of them. And then we went to the first missionary homes in Hawaii, which I thought was really cool. And we got to see their language. They didn't have a written language at all. They just had a spoken language. And we learned all about the first missionaries. And then we also went to this royal palace to learn more about the culture and history of Hawaii. And then this is just a picture of all the friends that I've made and more of the culture. So in Hawaii, the girls wore leis, and then the guys had cocoa beads like this. And then I actually made this. It literally took forever. I didn't know how hard it was making lace, but it's really hard. And then it really just opened my eyes because I saw these children playing every day. I'd be playing multiple sports at once. They'd be throwing the football at me, the volleyball, the soccer ball. But they would just have the most genuine heart and the most genuine smile whenever they were playing and everything they were doing. And then that's it. Hawaii really opened my eyes because I'm a very selfish and spoiled person. I admit that. And it just showed me how much I have compared to what I could have, and that my life is really good. And yeah, Hawaii was a very good thing for me to go to, and I'm gonna do E-Team next year. So.
Olivia, would you come and give her a welcome home hug from Fairview? She was on a missionary for us also, and whether you know it or not, everything you're doing is helping reach people around the world in the United States. We don't realize how the gospel is not preached like it used to be. We don't realize how many people in America know nothing about the Word of God, nor the stories in the Word of God. As pastors, we're having to learn, basically, when you introduce any lesson from the Bible, you're going to have to tell the story of that lesson because they don't know it. We're finding out in our children's ministries, even in our youth ministries, that what you and I, who have been raised in church, take for granted, the knowledge we take for granted, they know nothing about it. They don't know where the books of the Bible are. They don't know who wrote the books of the Bible. They don't know the stories of the Bible. And so America is quickly becoming a paganistic world. And we're seeing it more and more and more. As you take the gospel and prayer out of the schools, out of government and everything else, what does it leave you? A vacancy, a void. It leaves you without God. It leaves you without the Holy Spirit. And what happens is people follow suit quickly. And that's where we are in America. And Kate and I appreciate you going there. Love you dearly. By the way, she got me a tie from Hawaii, and I told her I'd wear it this morning. Well, first of all, she said she got me a tie. Usually she gets me a bow tie. I ain't wearing it. If you've seen some of the bow ties she got me. But anyway, I was very nervous this morning when she said she was going to bring it to me, and basically I had to wear it. So thank you for the tie. I appreciate it. I am going to be very brief this morning in what I say. I am an American. And I'm thankful. Nervous this morning. I appreciate it. I still believe America is the greatest nation in the world. I still believe if you're born here, you're privileged. They're trying to knock history out of our school system about our country. Our country has been blessed by God. And the Bible says in Psalms 33 verse 12, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he hath chosen for his inheritance." This last Monday we celebrated our 246th birthday. Some of you are alive when we celebrated our 200th birthday. And it seems only like yesterday we celebrated a century of being American, being United States of America. In fact, when you think about it, it is amazing our country, what an amazing country we have. Why do you think so many people are trying to come here? How many Americans do you see trying to go to another country? How many people in America are lined up at the borders of Russia or Cuba or China or Korea or those other nations or Mexico? We just got to get to Mexico. There's so much freedom in Mexico. We got to go to China. There's so much freedom in China. I will tell you something. We are a republic. A republic is that country that's based on a charter or a constitution. Because we're a republic, it takes the majority of the people to change the congregation. Representatives who we vote in to represent us cannot change the Constitution without the vote of the American people. We're trying to change to a democracy. A democracy is a rule by the representatives who has the majority of the people under their control. So if you're not a representative, then you're in the minority. And we also have to understand that they're trying to make America a socialistic country, which means that everyone owns the same amount. The rich, there'll be two classes of people, the rich and the poor. And everything will be based on a community. Otherwise, if you work, everybody gets your paycheck. Getting close there in this entitlement society that we're in. And that's where we're headed with our modern leadership. We've got to remember that our nation's liberty was bought with a great price and with great sacrifice. Our nation's Constitution was thought up, was prayed over, was discussed, and written by some of the wisest men that ever lived. Listen, our freedom came at a great price. We are blessed by some of the greatest resources in the world. We are one of the richest nations in the world. Did you know that? We're richest in oil, we're richest in food, we're richest in water. But the problem with that is we refuse to use our resources. If it be known all the resources we have, I'm talking about the resources we have that we're not even dealing with. And the new resources we're finding in fossil fuels, it is amazing how much we have. We talk about other nations having more than us, but if you really studied it and you really find out even on almost a monthly basis what they're discovering in this great land of ours, it is amazing how much fossil fuel we have. I'm going to just insert this. Well, there will never be a time that the world will ever be green energy in its totality. It is impossible because it takes fossil fuel to run most of the things that comes with green energy. And so I just thought I'd throw that out. It won't cost you anything. Our Constitution is one of the greatest documents outside the Word of God we have in our world. I believe in the Constitution. I believe that everybody that is an American should be obedient to the Constitution. I don't mind people coming here, immigrants. However, if they come here, they need to come the right way. And until they become American citizen, the Constitution is not their Bill of Rights. They cannot be covered by our Constitution. If they come here to destroy America, to pull us down, the best thing we can do is give them a boat to China. Each of you here today have a rich inheritance. Our inheritance was bought by men and women. They were bought by sacrificed lives and limbs and bodies and minds and families. Let us never forget that freedom is not a right. Freedom is a privilege. Whether you like it or not, it's a privilege to be called an American. And I believe it's a joy to have been born here and a joy to live here and a joy to serve the United States of America in one of the greatest branches of the United States military, the United States Marine Corps. I have a great fear for our country this morning. In my short lifetime, I have observed an unbelievable and frightening shift in the direction of our nation. From days of peace and prosperity, happiness and peace, a life where our children felt safe and secure. Our elderly felt safe to walk in our streets, could go to the grocery store or the doctor, or they felt safe when they walked the streets just for an evening walk. Where our schools were a safe haven, our homes were a place of safety, and literally we were filled with happy days. To a day now, which is a time of danger everywhere. Fear consuming us, unsafe schools and homes and stores, and dangerous days and nights. And our streets have become war zones, and we're living in what Paul told Timothy in 2 Timothy 3:1, we're living in perilous days. If you ever looked up the word perilous, it's an interesting word. It means dangerous. It means risky. It means unsafe. It means treacherous, vulnerable, uncertain, insecure, desperate, difficult, and problematic. As someone said, and I quote, "The greatest threat to the kingdom of Jesus Christ today is the carnal, compromising, effeminate, worldly Christianity the devil is trying to destroy our faith with once delivered to the saints. False teachers promoted on every side. The cure is simple, but very few ministers will use the cure, since most hearers are demanding fables and entertainment instead. The importance of this prophecy cannot be overstated. We're living in the fulfillment of the days of perilous times. People are leaving the churches by the groves. They're using every excuse possible to tell you why they can't come to church. I don't understand why God has saved people, and God has protected people, and God has protected families, yet when something goes wrong, they want to accuse God's home, the church, and leave and take it out on God. I don't understand it. The church is for you and I to assemble one another, with one another, to fellowship, to learn, to develop, and also to be sent out to a world that's lost. The world is getting worse. Don't be surprised. Tough times are coming. Don't be discouraged. It's easier to stand strong if you don't stand alone. The problem is today, you're seeing it in our Sunday schools, you're seeing it in our worship services, in our prayer meetings. People are coming to church less and less and less. And now many of the church has become the few of the church, and now the few are having to stand alone because the rest don't think it's important to do what God has commanded us to do in Hebrews chapter 10. I would say to you very quickly, the United States of America was founded by men and women and families who left Europe and England, as well as other nations, to search for a better place, a better land, a place of freedom and opportunity. They had little but their dreams, little but their hopes, but somehow they expected and they hoped for much. They came to an unknown world in search of their freedom and opportunity to prosper and to grow. With their dreams and hard work, they literally carved out the greatest nation in the world, called the United States of America. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, listen, righteousness exalted the nation. America was founded upon biblical principles by godly men who believed in God. Even men who were not saved had biblical integrity in their lives. We are a nation once of integrity and a nation of honor. We have been bestowed by so many blessings of God, and we ought to be a nation of gratitude. We ought to be thankful for the sacrifice freely given to us by the pilgrims who sailed the unknown. They sailed the seas with faith, and because they believed that they were going to build something great, they continue to come and literally give what many of them had nothing to give, and so they gave their life. We ought to be thankful for the memories of those who made it possible so you could be in your chairs this morning. We should never forget the truth and our heritage. May we honor today our parents who brought us up with integrity. May we honor our nation for giving us what the world longs for, freedom. Why are people wanting to come here? Freedom. What do we have that many nations do not have? Freedom. What should we enjoy more than anything else? Freedom. Reporter on the street the week of the 4th of July, that Friday and Saturday before the 4th, was asking question of young couples and young people. What does 1776 mean? And the majority of them had no idea. They asked him what the 4th of July meant. Here's what they said: hot dogs, hamburgers, and fireworks. I'm telling you, when we get the hot dogs, hamburgers, and fireworks as a celebration of the 4th of July and not celebrate our freedom that was given to us by men and women, your relatives and my relatives, we're losing something great. Let me tell you something this morning, folks. America needs to return to the days that made her great. We need to get back to the fundamentals, the foundational truth that made us great. There are a lot of foundational truths this morning, but because she went so long, I'm not able to give them to you. I'd say to you, I gotta get my little hit in here. Yeah, it's all right, yeah. We have a lot of liberties. Think about it. The freedom to worship, the freedom to speak, the freedom to travel, the freedom to marry who we desire to marry, the freedom to go where we desire to go, the freedom to move about our country, the freedom to have success in our lives. You can be anything in America if you put your mind to it. You can go to college, you can play sports, you can be a doctor, you can be a businessman, an entrepreneur, or you can be an Indian chief. Whatever you decide to be, you can be in this great country of ours. We have the freedom to be whatever we want to be and can be. We have the freedom to praise God and assemble together this morning. We have the freedom to vote. Never forget that, because that freedom can quickly be taken from you without you even knowing it. We're one election away from the loss of that freedom. We have the freedom to work where we desire to. We have the freedom to own property. And there's so many other freedoms we have. I will tell you this morning, we have the fundamental truth in America that was raised on the principles of integrity and character. My dad was a man of integrity. He was known all over Torrington, Wyoming for his honesty and for his integrity. Many of the deals that he made at the banks were made with the collateral of a handshake. They knew when Lil Hackett made you a promise, it would be done. When Lil Hackett told you something, he was anchored in the biblical truths of the Word of God to be a man of honesty and to be a hard-working person. Let me tell you, when I was raised, America did not want anything to do with deadbeats and lazy people. When we first had the welfare program, it was not meant to support people who refused to work. It was only to support people who lost their jobs but were looking for a job. People who were disabled and could not go to work. But it was not for people to sit down and get on their free telephones from America, in their free homes from America, with their free rent and free utilities and free car and free groceries. That's not what welfare was for. We have got to an entitlement America where everybody thinks America owes them something. Let me tell you what America owes you, or maybe I ought to tell you what you owe America. You owe America loyalty. You owe America hard work. And if necessary, you owe America your lives. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't do due diligence, we will lose the privilege of our freedom today. Multitudes upon multitudes of men and women laid down their lives, and with their comrades and some of their best friends, their bodies laying in a war zone, got behind those dead bodies of their comrades and fought back, not even knowing whether they make it to the next day. They fought on. Brave men and women continued to join our military and bravely fight on and even die. They fought in times that they didn't even know the reason why they fought. But they were Americans, and they were given the orders to fight on, and they fought on. They were soldiers in uniform. They represented the United States of America. Their uniform said, I'm an American. Their uniform did not say, I am controlled by the United Nations. We have right now over 100,000 troops that surround Ukraine, and they're under the direct commandment of the United Nations. There are over 300,000 troops that have surrounded Ukraine from the United Nations and America. It will take one bullet, it'll take one grenade, and we'll be in World War III. Yet our soldiers fight on, and they do what our government officials tell them to do, what our military officials tell them to do. They're men and women who fought gallantly and followed their orders, and you can see their crosses around the world, crosses in Normandy and South Pacific, crosses in North Africa, and the Arlington National Cemetery, where Trina's going with one of her relatives is going to be buried this next week. We have the tomb of the unknown soldier. Here rest in the honored glory an American soldier known but to God. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine in World War I and II and the various other scrimmages we have had, there have been moms and dads, brothers and sisters, there have been wives who waited, dreading a phone call at any moment, or a visit or a knock on the door, someone dressed in a military uniform, tell them that their husband or wife, their son or daughter, their whatever, their fathers, whoever it may be, has now paid the ultimate price, and they have died for the cause of America. Can you imagine the anxiety and the fear that these American people live through, knowing that their relative is or was a soldier? We're in a very unique country. In fact, we have a diverse culture. We have a diverse ethnic backgrounds. We have diverse languages, yet we are united. Look around you. Every creed and race and country and tribe and nationality are Americans. We may not look the same. We may not act the same. We may not talk the same. We may not believe the same. But I'm telling you, we can all love the same nation called the United States of America. I will tell you this morning, unless you're a Native American, you were or relatives were at one time an immigrant to this country. Listen, you're never going to find a country with more beautiful resources, more beautiful mountains and streams, natural resources, as you do America. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, from Canada to Mexico, we're a nation of beauty and a nation of blessings. From shore to shore, to border, our nation is the most beautiful and blessed nation again in the world. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains of majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. What a beautiful land we live in. You don't have to take a trip around the world to see the majesty of God and the beauty of God's creation. What brilliant landscapes we have, majestic scenery, breathtaking views. Our mountains jet up from the skies like gigantic skyscrapers, jetting through the clouds to the heavens beyond. Our lakes and streams and rivers and ponds and oceans glitter in the sunlight, radiating the beauty of their presence. Wherever you go in this great land of ours, you have to stand in awe. It will take your breath away. It's almost like God in his great eternal paintbrush painted in his handiwork the scenery of what we get to observe today. His brush of beauty and splendor. I remember when I had the privilege to take Gerald Petty. We went to Seattle, Washington, and landed. We drove through 21 states in about 2 weeks. We drove along the coast of Oregon and Washington and California. The beauty is breathtaking. The ocean on one side and the mountains on the other. We would stop and get out. Gerald would walk up in front of the car, and I would watch him, and I'd see his body start to shake. There he was looking at the beauty of God's handiwork, bawling like a baby, and saying to me, "Preacher, what a majestic scene. God is real in this place. God has built and created this place. How in the world can you drive through our country and not believe that God has blessed our country and given us some of the most majestic scenes ever? We're still a land flowing with milk and honey compared to other nations. We have the foundational truth of all the national resources. But you know what? America is one of the most compassionate nations in the world. I will tell you this. Listen to me carefully. When other nations and countries are contemplating, America is communicating and America is delivering the necessities of the needs of the world. Whatever the disaster may be, whatever the tragedy may be in other countries, who's first on the scene? The United States of America. We send the food and we send the resources, and we go where no one else goes. And our military is based all over the world. We are protecting our world. Now there's some that disagree with that. But what other nation has been so blessed to be able to do that? We are a great nation, and God has made us a great nation. We have been called the protectors of the world because we have someone who's the protector of the universe that we serve. Oh, we have 3 branches of the service. Can you name them to me this morning? The what? Okay. Executive, legislative, and judicial. And it's amazing there's a check and balance in our Constitution. Not one of those executive branches can override the other. And do you know when you make a mistake in election of a president or whatever, in 2 years you can get rid of certain congressmen and senators or congressmen. And in 4 years you can get rid of the president. We have a check and balance that when we make a mistake, we can correct it. We have veto powers, and we have votes to stop the veto powers. We are a great, great, great nation. As you can see, I'm trying to hurry. We're a nation who's been loyal to Israel. We have been loyal to Israel. Genesis 12:3 says, "And I will bless them that blesses thee," talking about Israel, "and curse them that curse thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed." God still blesses those who bless his people, Israel. We right now are one of the number 1 nations in the world to give Israel what it needs. However, we're being inundated, we're being infiltrated by men and women in our executive branch, in our Congress, in our Senate, and various other places, and also through all this other offices that are saying we need to get rid of Israel. We do not need to support them. I will tell you with all my might, we better continue to support them. As someone said, hang on to Israel's coattails, America. Hang on. And we better be hanging on. I love America because, as I said before, you can be a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, an entrepreneur, an inventor. You can be a scientist. You can be a senator, a congressman, a governor, the president, a scholar, an Indian chief, whatever you want to be if you put your mind to it. You can be that. Look at those that we have in office now. If they can be there, anybody can be there. Listen to me. I shouldn't have said that. Please forgive me. Your limits are limited by yourself. I will tell you what, have pride in the right way. Dream your dreams. America was built by dreamers. Dream your dreams and plan your dreams and work your work and believe in yourself. Gain confidence in you. You can, and by the way, if you will, you can make it in America. What a country we have. We have a country that has the freedom to preach the gospel around the world. We are still sending missionaries. The Bible said in Psalms 33:12, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and people whom he hath chosen for his inheritance. If we're chosen of God, then the world is our pulpit, and the world is our purpose, and the world is our preaching stage. And we better remember, we better continue to send missionaries around the world. Did you know they're sending missionaries to America? We better continue to do it. Matthew chapter 28 still says go. 5 times in the New Testament, 5 times over, we're given the Great Commission to go. It must be mighty important for God to say it 5 times. God bless America, land where I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night and the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I had the privilege to preach my brother's funeral, who had retired from the United States Marine Corps, 20-some years of service, was decorated unbelievable. And it was a full-fledged military funeral. The United States Marine Corps sent, I think, 17 from Kent Pinland, California to Torrington, Wyoming. Preached the funeral, and at the graveside, this is what they did. Would you stand, please? God bless America. Let's never forget. Can you pray for her and support her and love her and be loyal to her? God bless you. And again, God bless America. You are dismissed.